Housekeeping while we get going. If you can hear me through the computer or the phone line, go ahead and, if someone could type a message just saying that you can hear me. Or if you're on the phone and you can hear me, that would be great if someone could type in. Awesome. So people are hearing me. Very good. Well, I will go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody. Good, good, good. Well, this is Laura Hodson. I am a consultant here in the Topeka office, and awesome, more people are hearing me. I have Hannah Tillery with me, so we are going to take turns going through the certification webinar today. So we have both sponsors of centers and sponsors of homes. We are going to go through things for each of you today. So just a reminder, if you haven't gotten onto some sort of audio yet, that you can listen either through your computer speakers or you can enter our conference call line and hear me through the phone. Okay, so it sounds like, or it looks like everybody, most of you have gotten onto some sort of audio and can hear me very well, so that is good to know. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I have muted everybody's microphones, both on the conference call line and on the computer. As I'm going through things, if you have questions at this point, go ahead and type them into the chat box. I will open up the phone line and your audio on the computer to be able to ask questions at the end of my presentation for the centers, and then likewise at the end of our presentation for the home sponsors as well. So there will be chances to ask questions through the audio, but always, if you have a question, feel free to type it into the chat box. All right, so we're going to talk about all things certification and CAN-CLAIM this afternoon. So here's our agenda. We are going to review the common authentication and getting access to CAN-CLAIM. There's nothing new there, but we're going to review those processes. We're going to look at your resources that you have for program certification. We're going to actually pull up CAN-CLAIM and do a little demo through the website, through the certification process for you. And then once we're done with the main part of the presentation that will apply to both sponsors of homes and centers, then we're going to allow the center-only sponsors to drop off the webinar, and then we have some things specifically for our home sponsors. Okay? So in order to complete certification, you have to get to CAN-CLAIM. So the easiest way to do that is through our website. We do have a link for CAN-CLAIM at our website at caneat.org. Under CACFP, you see there in the left-hand red column, there is a link directly for CAN-CLAIM. I go ahead and make a bookmark on my computer for this, so I can just go straight to CAN-CLAIM when I need to. But if you ever lose that web address, you can just go through our website to access CAN-CLAIM. Now, this was something new last year, but it is not new this year. But you do need to realize that if there has been any changes with authorized representatives, or we'll talk about designated users as well, but if there's been a change, then that authorized representative will need to register for access for CAN-CLAIM, and that is done through our common authentication system. So if you did certification last year as an authorized representative, then you will have already gone through this process. But if you are new, then you'll register. So you'll click on CAN-CLAIM, and we'll see this here in a minute, but you'll click on CAN-CLAIM, and if you are a new authorized representative, then you will need to use the register feature of the site to enter your information and create an account so that you can have access to CAN-CLAIM. When you click on register, you will choose CAN-CLAIM from the list of programs, and then you're going to select authorized representative. This will be different if you're going to be a designated user. But for those of you who have been assigned as authorized representative, you would use that function, and then you would complete all the requested information and submit it to us. So this is what it looks like on your screen. So if you're already in the system, you've already created an account and you're getting into CanClaim, then of course you're just going to be entering your username and password. But if you are a new user, then you see the green section where you'll click on register, and that's where you will complete your information. So the first thing that needs to happen with a new authorized representative is that we would receive the appointment of new authorized representative form. So we have to approve that before the authorized representative can be approved for CanClaim. So if you are going through certification this year and are going to be changing the name of the authorized representative in the sponsor application, then we will expect to see a form for an appointment of a new authorized representative. And then that person would be registering for their own account in CanClaim. So once the authorized representative has registered for a CanClaim account, we will be notified. We will double check to make sure that form is on file, and then we will approve it and notify the authorized representative of that approval. Now, if you are wanting to add a designated user, this is a function where an authorized representative can assign certain people access to CanClaim, and you can see there are different functions that you can assign a designated user to, such as applications. You can give them access to claims if you're going to have someone else submit claims, training, and then reports. And so the authorized representative is going to be the person who will grant access to CanClaim for those designated users. The designated user will register through the same process. They will choose designated user instead of authorized representative, and then the authorized representative can go into CanClaim and approve them. So we do have a reference guide under the program certification link on our website for accessing CanClaim. So you'll see that. You'll see the quick reference for accessing CanClaim. That would take you step by step through this process if you are needing to change an authorized representative or add any designated users. Okay. All right. So program certification starts today. Today is August 1st, and today is the first day that you can go in and begin program certification. At our website, we have updated the program certification link. So if you go to our website at caneat.org and click on CACFP, as you should see on your screen here, in the left-hand column, we have the program certification link. If I click on that, you will see that it has been updated for 2018 and 2019. So the first link you see there is your quick reference for accessing CanClaim. And then we have our program certification memo for either center sponsors or our sponsors of homes. And then we have our certification guides. And we're going to talk about the certification guide a little bit more here in a few minutes. So those are up to date and ready to be downloaded from our website. The program certification memos are not the step-by-step process for certification. This is just an overview of the process, okay? But it is important to kind of read through that. It gives you some of the changes and gives you kind of a checklist of things that need to be done for certification. Okay. So please do use these things as a resource for program certification. We've shown that the certification guides are a helpful resource. Even if you have been doing certification for years, I encourage you to go ahead and look through these. You may not have to have them right in front of you and follow every step, but it does give you the guide for what we are requiring. So you will see here for your type of sponsor, the things that are part of certification. So again, I encourage you to at least have that certification guide out, have it pulled up on your computer to go through that. It takes you, like I said, step by step through the process. It explains all of the different required forms that you would be uploading, and will hopefully make the process a little bit smoother for you. So we're going to just look at this different sections of certification here. So we're going to start with applications. So when you log in, and we'll look at this in a minute when we go over to the live demo of CanClaim. But the first thing you're going to work on is your applications, and you have a tab specifically for that. And one thing to note is that when you first get into program year 2019 and you click on your applications tab, you are only going to see the sponsor application and a plus sign. You won't have any other applications, and so you're going to submit the sponsor application first. I do have a good question about the uploads, and I will answer that here in just a minute when we talk about the checklist tab. So in order to see your other applications, you must submit your sponsor application. It can be an error, that's fine, you just have to submit it, and then you will see your budget, and you will see your management plan. And one thing that has changed is that the management plan will no longer be required for our single site sponsors. You will only have a management plan if you are a multiple site center sponsor or a home sponsor. And then you will have your site applications and or your provider applications. Yes, so the question about the management plan is only for multiple site and home sponsors. So if you're a single site, you will not see that management plan. So with the checklist, once you're done with your applications and you have those in pending submission, you can move over to your checklist tab, and this is where you will do your uploads. Any upload that is required for your sponsor will be indicated with a red check to the left. That will tell you that you will need to upload something for that. So the question that came in about, is it necessary to upload all documents even if there's no changes from last year? Those documents did not roll over from last year. So you will have to upload all of them. If they didn't change, it could be that you're uploading the same thing that you uploaded last year, but you do need to review those documents to ensure that there are not any changes. But you will have to upload everything. So this shows the civil rights purchasing plan and code of conduct. That's applicable for every sponsor. I do want to mention the purchasing plan because we've had a few pretty significant changes here very recently that happened that could affect your purchasing plans. The first one being that the micro purchase threshold has now increased to $10,000. It used to be $3,500. So for those of you who are using the micro purchase method, that has increased to $10,000. For small purchases for food, that threshold has increased to $250,000. That increased from $150,000. So that would cover for the most part, our sponsors who contract for meals. So if you're having meals prepared and delivered to your center, that small purchase threshold would now be $250,000. So if you have a meal contract and it is above $250,000 for the year, then you would need to perform formal purchasing requirements and procedures. Okay. Now, the Kansas requirement for purchasing of non-food items such as services and equipment is at $20,000. That has not changed. So if you are procuring some kind of a service or a new piece of equipment and you expect to spend over $20,000, then that will need to be formally procured. So make sure that you're reviewing your purchasing plans before you upload them. Do not assume that what you uploaded last year is still current and correct. You need to review that to make sure that it is reflective of what you are doing. All right, so the program agreement, if you remember, if you did this last year, we had all of our sponsors sign a new program agreement. That was a permanent agreement in 2018, so there is no need to have all of our sponsors sign a new one. So you will not have a program agreement to sign. The one that you signed last year would carry forward. And the certification statement is done in the checklist tab once everything has been completed for you. So once all of your applications are in pending submission, and once all of your required checklist documents have been uploaded, then you will see a certification box, and we're going to look at that here in a minute. Your certification is not complete until you click that box and submit it to KSDE for approval. All right, so let's look at CAN-CLAIM. So I'm going to log in. Oh, that's interesting. We'll try this again. Oh, there we go. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to navigate through my CAN-CLAIM login, choose CACFP, and now I'm seeing 2019 for the program year, so I'm going to click on 2019. And you should only see your sponsor. I'm going to click on the sponsor. So I have actually completed a lot of the items for this sponsor just so that you don't have to watch me go through all of it. But there are a few things that I want to show you. And this part is going to apply to everybody. On the sponsor application, I'm going to click the pencil. Right now it's in error. So in order for me to make changes or to complete information that's missing, I want to click on the pencil, because if I click on the eyeball, that's view only. So I'm going to click on the pencil, and it's showing which errors I have. All of these items will roll forward. So this information that you had in here last year will roll forward, and for some reason this one didn't for me, so I'm just going to choose that. And actually, the income eligibility and confidentiality section, numbers 36 and number 37, will not roll forward. This is actually being pulled. It came from the management plans, and so we pulled that out, and now it's in your sponsor application. And so those should be blank when you open up your sponsor application. So you will need to complete those questions. And then I'll answer that in a minute. I'm going to finish this application, and then I will answer that question that just popped up. So then you have your training information that you'll need to complete. So the administrative training is going to be your admin workshop that you attended. And then you need to complete your food safety information, your food safety training. You should have at least one staff member that has been trained in food safety within the last 3 years. If you don't, then that's your cue that you need to have somebody complete that training before you complete certification. And then the outreach efforts you will be asked to fill in as well. So that is the sponsor's efforts to get information about your programs to the community, especially grassroots and minority organizations. Okay, so then I'm going to submit that. Okay, so mine is now in pending submission. So you can see here that all of my applications are now in pending submission. I have this set up as a multiple site sponsor, so I do have a management plan. If I only had one center under my sponsorship, then I will not see this management plan. I would only have the sponsor application, the budget, and then my site application. Okay. To answer the question that came in about accessing the PowerPoint to print later, is that going to be available to them?
The actual PowerPoint will be a part of the recorded webinar, which we'll be able to send. So just type in your email address if you would like that sent.
Okay.
And your consultant will send it to you until we can get it closed captioned and it can live on the website.
Okay. So that, I don't know if you guys were able to hear Cheryl explain what is going on. We are recording these webinars. We recorded the one this morning. We're recording the one now. The PowerPoint slides will be available with the recorded version of the webinar that we can send to you personally. So Valerie, we can make sure to get your email address. Anybody else that would like to have a copy of the PowerPoint or the webinar, please let us know in the chat box and we can make sure to write that down for sending it to you later. So thank you for that question. Okay, so all of my applications are in pending submission, so I'm going to go over to my checklist tab. And you can see now I'm a multiple site sponsor, so I have a lot of things that I have to upload. And you'll see that with the red check next to it. So all sponsors will have these required civil rights training roster, purchasing plan, and code of conduct. And keep in mind the civil rights training roster is for the frontline training that you have given your staff in the last program year. Okay, now I have already uploaded all these documents, so when you first click on the checklist tab, you won't have these uploaded, obviously. Nothing has carried forward, so you will need to upload. And you'll see here that some of these have a blue Word icon in the download column. That means that we have a prototype form available for you that you can use. So you can download that. And then when you're ready to upload your document, you will use the blue arrow going up in the action column. And then you'll see once it's uploaded, it shows the date sent and the date received. And then once your consultant has reviewed it, you'll see a date for the date completed. So the items 11 through 18 are part of the multiple site management plan. So if you're a multiple site sponsor, you will have those uploads. If you are a single site center sponsor, you will not. You will have items number 19 and 20, which are the verification of CACFP staff training. And what that is going to be is that will be your training that you have given your own staff in the last program year in regards to CACFP. Okay, we do have a template form for you to use to record those trainings. And then the financial statement is going to be something that's coming from the sponsor. That would be a current financial statement or a profit loss statement. But that is going to be your documentation to show that your sponsor is financially viable, which is a federal requirement. Now, if you have any other things, a food service contract would be downloaded under the offline forms as needed. A school boundary map. For this particular sponsor, I have a red check next to the school boundary map because one of my sites was at risk. So then I have to upload a school boundary map. So you'll see at the bottom that I have a checkbox and then I have this certification statement. Okay, so this is your sponsor certification. Make sure you read through that because that is you as the sponsor saying that I certify that that I am complying with all these requirements. So make sure you read that. So I've read it. I agree. I comply. So I'm going to check that box. And then down below, you have another blue arrow So you are going to use that button to submit everything to the state. So now you see that all of my applications are now in pending approval. And you'll also notice that under the action column, you only have the eyeball, so you only have view. At this point, after you submit your information to KSDE, you no longer have the ability to make changes. So if you submit and things are in pending approval and you find out that you need to change something on one of your applications, just let your consultant know, and we can open that application back up for you to make those changes. But at this point, when things are pending approval, that's when your consultant is going to go in and review everything. Okay. Just a few tips as you're going through the certification process. It is always a good idea to go ahead and clear out your browsing history before you start. Sometimes we have found that that has caused some problems with data saving or not saving, and so it's just a good idea to kind of clean everything out before you begin the process. And just so that you know, for your uploads, the system will accept documents that are in Word, Excel, or PDF formats. Okay, and also a reminder that you have to submit that sponsor application so that you can get access to the other applications. So don't panic when you open up Program Year 2019 and you only see the sponsor application. Go ahead and click the plus sign to add your sponsor application and submit that, and then you will see your other applications. Also, if you are working in an application and you're not quite finished updating the information, if you have to leave your desk or if you get pulled away, go ahead and submit that application because it will save in error, and that's okay. You can save that application even when there are errors, and it will save what you've entered. Then you can go back in later and edit that information. And like I said before, make sure that you are clicking on the pencil icon when you want to edit. If you're clicking on the eyeball, it's only going to give you view access. Okay? All right, so this is for my center sponsors. We would like you to have everything in pending approval by September 17th. Okay, so that is giving you about 6 weeks to complete the process. If you have problems being able to get everything completed by then, please contact your consultant. We will work with you on that date, but our goal is to have everybody in pending approval by September 17th so that consultants can get everybody approved. Keep in mind, the sooner that you get things into pending approval, the sooner your consultant can get it approved, and then you can be done with it. All right, so at this time, I am going to unmute everybody. And I'm going to unmute my phone line. So if anybody has any questions up to this point, specifically any center-related questions over what we've gone over, please feel free to ask, or you can type in your message as well. So I'll give you a few minutes to see if anybody has any questions. Not hearing from anybody. Thank you all for giving us your email addresses. If you, let's see, I think I had a few of you in here that just indicated that you wanted the PowerPoint. If you did not type in your email address, please do so, because we don't necessarily have your email addresses. So if you just said that you would like the PowerPoint, go ahead and send me another message and give me your email address.
I'll get it in a minute.
Okay, so I'm not hearing or seeing any questions. If you have missed the CACFP administrative workshop for centers, I taught my last class yesterday. I believe that I don't know, I'm not sure if there's any other trainings that are still happening anywhere. But if you have missed the administrative workshop training, please watch for the online training to become available. That will be done through the training portal. And I believe we are going to contact those that we did not have registered or attend the admin workshop to notify you that you will need to take the online training. Certification cannot be completed until you complete your online admin workshop or the in-person class. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that and do not wait too long. I do not have a date of when that will be available. It will be ready before certification deadline, so just keep an eye out for it. Okay, thank you guys for your email addresses. We'll get all those, and then once the recorded webinar is ready to send out, we will get those to you. So at this time, if you are a center-only sponsor, the webinar is complete for you. Okay. I do have a question that came in. I am a new authorized rep, so I did not facilitate any training last year. I think you mentioned we must document that in our application. Yeah, so one of the uploads that you will do is the staff training verification. And so if you're not aware of what training was done in the last year, it's a little bit of a challenge. You would need to know, but if you aren't sure, one option is always to just do a staff meeting and do some training with your staff regarding CACFP to make sure everybody is on the same page as far as your policies and procedures for things like meal counts, attendance, anything that the staff would need to make sure that they would do. So you can go ahead and conduct a training with your staff, or you can see if you can get the information on what training may have been completed. But yes, you do have to report that as part of a checklist upload. Any other questions before I let my center sponsors go? We are going to continue the webinar. However, this will be focused on home sponsors. We got one more question. The training last year right before certification. If you have a whole new staff this year, I would do more training. That would be my recommendation. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hand things over to Hannah, and she is going to talk to our home sponsors.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like Laura said, I am Hannah Tillery, and I am a home sponsors consultant. So we're going to get to the home sponsor part of the webinar. There have been some changes made to the home sponsor budget this year. There was a line added, line item number 22 was added under provider services. It is an other line. And it is just something that you can add that wouldn't go into provider resources or workshops or speakers. It could be anything that doesn't fit into those lines. And so just take a look at the budget. You will see line item number 22 is other, and so please specify. An example of what this could include would be if you wanted to help a provider with licensing costs, you could. And so if you would like to do that, you could just contact me or Tara, and we could give you some guidance on how to help a provider with that type of cost. And so another resource that we have that we're going to talk about is the budget worksheet. This is located on our website. We will go to the website so I can show you where that is located. So you'll go to our homepage, which is at canny.org, Child and Adult Care Food Program. You'll go up to the top left blue bar and it says Administration. You'll click on Administration, and it'll go to the Administrative Tools, and the budget worksheet for sponsoring organizations is listed there. So you'll click on the blue diamond to open it. And this is not a required form. This is just a form that it's just a tool that you can use to help develop your budget for this program year. And this has been renumbered to match the budget that is in CanClaim. And so just some tips and reminders for when you're filling out your budget this year. Audit grant money, sponsors should not assume they will receive the audit grant and should budget for the audit. This is part of being financially viable. So you definitely don't want to just expect that you will get the audit grant. You definitely want to budget for that. So you'll put it in your budget on the audit grant line. Advances are not given to advances are given to new sponsors and expanding sponsors.
If needed and if justified.
And sponsors, if they need it and they provide justification for why they need the advance.
Right, they're not automatically given.
Correct. And so another thing to keep in mind when filling out your budget this year is when you're increasing and decreasing amounts in the budget line items, use historical data. So look at what was spent in the past. Don't put in amounts unless you plan to spend those amounts. Another update that has happened this year is revisions have been made to the provider agreement. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that provider agreement. Okay, so this provider agreement is going to be located under the checklist tab. It is listed as number 28. And so there is a little blue downloads icon that you can click, and it will open the new provider agreement. And just to highlight just a few of the changes that have happened to the provider agreement. Number 4 is the provider shall complete 2 hours of nutrition/CACFP training approved by the sponsor during each program year. Failure to meet the annual training requirement by September 30th will result in corrective action by the sponsoring organization, which may include a declaration of serious deficiency. Another update is number 18. The provider shall have the opportunity to request an administrative review, which is an appeal, if the sponsor issues a notice of proposed termination of the daycare homes provider program agreement, or if the sponsor suspends participation due to health and safety concerns. Another update happened to number 8 under the sponsor shall visit the provider's daycare home at least 3 times per year to review CACFP operations. At least 2 visits will be unannounced, and at least 1 unannounced visit will be during a meal service. The first review will need to happen within the first 4 weeks and not more than 6 months pass between reviews. Another update is to number 15. The sponsor shall follow the serious deficiency procedure according to regulations for issues of noncompliance by providers. Provide appeal rights for proposed terminations from CACFP due to noncompliance or health and safety concerns. And then the last update will be in the last paragraph. Termination of this agreement does not constitute approval to transfer to another sponsor. This agreement is considered terminated when a provider does not submit claims for 6 consecutive months with no notification to the sponsor. Sorry about that. So this updated provider agreement can be used now, or you can wait to use it till October 1st if you would like to use up old provider agreements. And this does not need to be done for current providers. This provider agreement will only need to be used for new providers. So you don't need to send out provider agreements to your current providers, just the ones that sign up either now, you can use it now, or wait till October 1st to use it. Okay. Please remember, our administrative workshop will be held August 16th in Wichita. That will start at 9 o'clock and end somewhere between, I believe, 3 and 4.
4. We're there till 4.
We are there till 4, most likely. And then please submit program certification by August 31st if possible. Tara and I are available to help you if you need help in getting certification submitted. So we are going to open it up now for questions. I know that some have already submitted ones. We have, does line 22 require SPWA? If that depends on what you are putting in there. The example I gave earlier of asking to help a provider with licensing costs, yes, that would require SPWA, so you will need to contact Tara or I to get approval for that. And like I said, if you would like to help a provider, please contact us and we'll give you more guidance. Another question, if we have several printed already, do we still have to use the new one beginning October 1st? Yes, you will need to begin using the provider agreement starting October 1st. Are there any other questions? We have the phones open as well as the speakers on the computer. Okay, well, we are not getting any questions, so thank you so much for attending this webinar, and we look forward to helping you with certification.